Achieving a gorgeous grin from home isn't a total mystery with Bite Clear aligners. Just don't be surprised if all of your sleuthing friends start asking, "What's your secret?" Begin by ordering your at-home impression kit today for only $14.95. Bite Clear aligners are doctor-directed and delivered to your door. Treatment costs thousands less than braces. Plus, they offer flexible financing, accept eligible insurance, and you can pay with your HSA FSA. Get 80% off your impression kit when you use code WONDERY at Byte.com. That's BYTE.com. Start your confidence journey today with Byte.
Hi, Rebecca. How are you?
I'm good. It's not a crime. I feel bad so much of the time, but this is not something I feel bad about.
I know. My husband was asking the other day something about, he has a million hobbies. So he was like, what do you think your hobbies were? And I truly thought about it and said, watching reality TV. He's like, I don't think that's a hobby, but I'm really good at it.
Well, that's why you've made it a quasi job. I mean, we've taken this hobby and we have kind of elevated it, scaled up, leveled up.
There you go. But it was so sad because I started listing all the things he likes and enjoys. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's just reality TV.
This is the same for us. And the things I name as hobbies are also things that I kind of also put endeavor around. It's very hard for me to do something just for the pure art of enjoying it. I'm working on that, and I think it might be gardening, but I'm in New York. That's like 8 weeks out of 52 that I can do that.
Yeah. You can do a lot inside. I learned that with my son when he was on a gardening kick because his hobbies are actually my hobbies. So
that's actually a great point.
Hobbies
Your hobby is, like walking through his hobbies with him, and you learn so much. And I do remember that phase, and I am happy to report I had to bring my jasmine and my lemon tree from my deck inside for the winter, and they are thriving. And my mom gave me an amaryllis, and there's 5 pink blooms on it. They're stunning. So I'm not willing to say I'm a green thumb yet, but things are living for longer than expected. So maybe that's my hobby.
I'm excited. That will be great. And that seems like the perfect one. You're just somebody who knows and can put pretty things together. So I just feel like if you're no, don't even look at me like that. It's true. I'm
also forgetful and inconsistent though. So that works against keeping plants alive. But thank you.
No, I get that.
I'm excited
I get
to
that.
Keep trying.
We just kept growing them like out to a certain point. Like they would get to a certain size and my son's like, all right, I'm done. Right. And I'm like, okay,
I've
but
taken
I don't
this
want
as
to
far
do
as I
this.
can go, or as far as I want to take it.
I know. I should check in the backyard. There might be a few things going that I just don't know about that nature took on its own.
That's super cool.
Yeah. But Rebecca, I wanted to start this week thinking back to September of 2012.
Okay.
Do you remember anything about September 2012?
No, I don't remember anything about any year
ago.
that you ever tell me.
Don't worry. That wasn't actually a question. I just decided to do that. But I will say television was doing okay. I know that's not really a strong opening sentence, but it's really the truth.
Tell me more.
I tried to pull some stuff together for this intro, and I was like, can't wait to share all the amazing shows out there. You ready for the 3 I saw?
Hit me.
Catfish, Duck Dynasties.
Oh, yeah.
And Big Ange on VH1. She was like on Mob Wives. Like they're just
okay.
We didn't have a lot
trying
going
new
on,
things
apparently.
on the old reality TV networks.
Absolutely. And apparently almost all animal related, catfish, duck. No,
well,
I
the
can't
catfish
make
is
that
kind
work.
of figurative.
It's okay.
There's neither a cat nor a fish.
None of it. And the ducks really are just about people.
It's secondary
not
too. You're right.
Ugh, okay. Well, see, still going well. So anyway, I decided I would have to pivot in my intro. In 2012, we needed new television. We were starving for interesting shows that were different from our own lives. And TLC took up the torch of top-tier television once again and created the groundbreaking and totally not fabricated at all show, Breaking Amish.
It's a great title.
Yeah, isn't it? Rebecca, do you have any relation to Breaking Amish? I know you do to Amish people in general, but the show Breaking Amish. Okay. Do you have any reference
No,
point?
I really don't. Like, I know it existed. Kind of surprised I never watched any of it, but I really haven't. So you're
better for it.
Okay.
I have to be honest. This is the one time where I'm not trying to get anyone to watch this, but you're better for it. But what is your relationship to Amish culture?
Well, you may have overstated it. You might be setting me up a little too much, but my parents just recently moved to one of the biggest Amish places in the country. I'm from New Jersey, and my parents just left New Jersey after living their whole lives there to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, which is full center point for the Amish and the Mennonite communities. So my parents have learned a lot. They're watching a lot of documentaries. And now when I go there, I mean, you share the road with people in horse and buggies. It's wild.
I love it. Where I'm from in North Florida, we had a bunch of Amish shops, or they would sell stuff. And then north of Orlando, a little tiny mom and pop store I used to go to, they always had Amish butter, Amish this, Amish, tons of stuff.
We like their products. The Amish markets are really, really nice.
Right? It's pretty amazing. So, Rebecca, there have been 4 seasons of Breaking Amish.
Okay.
But much like Love After Lockup, the seasons don't really make sense. There was this first where they broke Amish in New York City. Congratulations.
I mean, if you're going to do it.
You're going to break Amish there. Yeah. The second season they called Brave New World, and it took place in Pinecraft, which is a community near Sarasota, Florida. And I've told you in Sarasota, there's a huge Amish population.
You did, and it really surprised me. I don't know why I never would have pegged Florida for a place for the Amish. I don't know why, but I think it's something with their, the clothes they have to wear. And it just, not that it doesn't stand out here, but all I can picture Hawaiian shirts and cargo khaki shorts in Florida, and wow.
It's not bad at all. Yeah, they're in their traditional garb.
Yeah.
But apparently there was I was looking something into it because I was curious too. It had to do with farming, I guess, originally. And so some people moved down there, and then, families grow and more people are there.
Sure.
And also it's Florida and there's sun. So sometimes people like that.
Sometimes many people do like that. It's true. You're winning right now in terms of winter. Absolutely. I'm going to give that to you.
Thank you. I will take it. Okay, so then the 3rd season and 4th season are back to being called Breaking Amish, I believe, and they take place in LA and Brooklyn, respectively.
Oh my gosh. I do want to watch just because I love LA. Brooklyn. I've got feelings on, but
yeah.
It's not interesting. All right. I'll just wait.
You'll see.
Okay.
But Rebecca, would you be surprised that Breaking Amish has a spinoff?
Actually, no, but tell me what it's called.
Yeah, they do, and it's called Return to Amish, and it's actually been on for 7 years.
Whoa.
Yeah. So this week I'm going to be focusing on the people from the first season of Breaking Amish who are also on season 2, Brave New World. And then a lot of them go over to Returning Amish. So it's kind of like the 2 hit seasons, and then they kept bringing people in, and nobody really sticks. For good reason. These are not actors. These are not people that, a camera doesn't necessarily shine for people who have not been in front of a camera ever in their lives.
Or any technology. Or right. They have no point of reference. So that can go one of 2 ways, right? It could be the most natural, amazing, kind of unaffected.
It's not.
Yeah, or not. Exactly.
It's really not. Sometimes I was watching a few clips and I was like, oh my gosh, this is worse than watching paint dry. Some people, it got real boring. But their lives would be crazy. The things they're saying that are just so common every day for them, but their faces and voices would be monotone. I'm like, right. I'm sorry.
And they don't recognize it. One more thing I just wanted to mention that happened. I don't know if it hit your headlines, but do you remember seeing this in the news. You know how your cell phone will do an alert when there's like a weather advisory or an Amber Alert, and everybody's phone in a space goes off at the same time, and like it disrupts. So they're not supposed to have cell phones, the Amish. And all these Amish people just got busted because like a dozen people's phones went off in a space where they were all Amish and practicing in the very conservative sect, and they like got in trouble in their community.
I believe
and I just find that really, I don't know, like I just find it kind of adorable. Like I don't know, it's just funny, but it was like very scandalous.
Oh, I believe it. I can't even imagine, but that is the way, like, to get busted for that. Oh, that would be, it with like, but you'd be like, there's 10 of us. Name them all. Name them. Okay.
Oh, if only.
So in that first season, and again the second, and some on the other spinoff, there are 5 people. So 4 of them are Amish and 1 is Mennonite. So you have a guy named Abe Schmucker, Rebecca Byler, Kate Stoltzfus, Jeremiah Raber. They are all Amish or had grown up Amish. And then you have Sabrina High, who is later Sabrina Burkholder. She's the sole Mennonite of the season. But before we really get started, I want to paint the picture. And since I'm not an artist, I'll just do it by playing the trailer from season 1 of Breaking Amish.
Perfect.
I don't think it's right that a woman has to stand beneath a man. I want more than that.
I started working when I was 15, dropped out of school early. 3rd or 4th grader can probably read 3 times better than I can.
I am fascinated by the outside world. I can't stand living the rest of my life wondering what if.
It takes somebody with a lot of balls to get up and leave the Amish.
They'll tell you you're going to hell. And it's really hard because you want to love God.
He just freaked out and he's like, no, you just gotta go.
He said I have to gather up my stuff and I have to leave.
I'm gonna do everything in my power to try and stop you.
If I go to New York City, and decide not to stay Amish, I'm gonna be on my own.
I guess I just need to get away and find out who I really am.
I was definitely excited. It's New York City.
Everybody was staring at us like we were stupid.
Well, doggone.
I've never actually stayed in a hotel because they have alcohol in them.
I walked in there and I'm like, whoa.
What have we really gotten ourselves into?
Kate is coming out of her box.
I didn't know I hurt you, okay?
I have no freaking idea what's going on.
I come to take you home.
Breaking Amish premieres Sunday, September 9th at 10, only on TLC.
Thoughts?
I mean, I guess it's better than the actual show because I'm intrigued.
It probably is. I mean, I'll tell you where my issues lie as we go through this. But it feels very Rumspringa, right? Like this whole...
But that's what it is.
It's not. And that's what you think it is, right? I have that in my note. And if you've seen like documentaries, have you seen The Devil's Playground about the Amish? It's a documentary.
But I bet my parents have.
Yeah, and it's about Rumspringa.
I thought this was that, but these kids are older because that happens at like age 16, right?
You're right. It happens around
Rumspringa?
age 16. Before, I know I'm throwing out the word Rumspringa. Some people might not know. I'm obsessed with the idea. But
Me too.
Before, we'll talk a little bit about the Amish and Mennonites' beliefs, just so you have a better idea of where they're coming from. So I'm no theologian, Rebecca, but my understanding, I know, of American Amish goes all the way back to the 1700s. So, I mean, not my understanding. I read this like 2 days ago.
It is understood.
I didn't come here with this information. I just learned it. So back in the 1700s, there's a community of those in the Christian faith that began to rebel against an Anabaptist leader from Sweden named Jacob Amman, Amman. So the followers of Jacob are known as Amish.
That's new information. That's so cool.
Yeah. I won't remember it tomorrow, but today I do. Basically, the idea was he wanted his followers to follow a very strict set of rules where it's all about humility and doing for others and stuff like that and keeping life very simple. And other people were like, nah, electricity is going to be a thing, bro. And I'm going to one day want that for my descendants. So that's kind of the break off. I would also like to say I'm not an expert and I don't claim to be. And please, if you know more than me, I know you do. I know people do.
Right.
So please don't give us a bad review.
And we may have Mennonite listeners. No.
Oh, yeah. No, we could have Mennonite listeners.
Yeah, we could have Mennonite.
Or
yeah, because they can
Amish, anything.
Right.
So you can tell us if we're wrong. Just
yeah, I
say
would
it
love
nicely.
to learn more.
So here in the U.S., we have two types of Anabaptist. Again, this is if I'm understanding it correctly. You have the Amish or Old Order Amish, and you have Mennonites. This is a generalization, and obviously everyone that practices their faith does not adhere to these things 100%, so it's pretty generalized. But with Mennonites and Amish, their beliefs are really similar, but whereas the Amish don't allow electricity or driving of vehicles, the Mennonites actually do.
Mm-hmm.
And they still believe the same things. Another thing they have that is different, I know, is that the Mennonites don't really practice shunning, whereas the Amish do. Mennonites are allowed to wear bright colors and patterns, and the Amish choose these muted tones to show humility and not to be presenting themselves loud, I guess. So in words that we can all understand, the Amish would be like Erica Girardi, and Mennonites are Erica Jane.
Perfect. Thank you for the metaphor that we all needed to really click into this episode.
I don't know.
Wow. There's a first thing for everything.
It's the only thing that made sense to me. So for Mennonites and the Amish, a huge part of their faith is becoming baptized. So you typically get baptized in your late teens or early adulthood. With this baptism, you're saying, I want to live this life. I've decided to live this life. I will follow the orders of the church forever. So there's no backing out once you do this, once you make this decision. And if you do decide to leave the faith or do things they don't agree with, like phones or smoking, you know, if you're Amish, that you will be shunned. Like that's, or I guess you could be shunned is probably better to say, which means the members of the community can no longer even associate with you, or they risk being shunned. So it's a really big deal.
Yeah.
And because it's such a big deal, here comes my favorite part. The Amish offer their parishioners something when they turn 16. And that something is called Rumspringa.
Rumspringa. What a great word.
It's so fun. It's so fun.
It sounds fun. Yeah.
And it is fun.
It is fun.
It's translated from a German dialect and it means jumping around.
Stop.
Mm-hmm.
That is so cool. I love that you gave us that historical tidbit.
Again, this is some pages. I think it was like amishquestions.co or something. I don't know. This could have been lied. Yeah. My son could have made this website. I don't know.
I wouldn't put it past him. It's like Rumspringa. It's like Rumspringa break. Like I think of spring break. Like it's their spring break.
Yeah.
They get to go wild.
I know. I was trying to think of a Girls Got to Gone Wild option, but I didn't come up with anything. I like that though. Basically, it means that before you decide on being baptized or whether or not you want to be baptized, you have the opportunity to enjoy the English world, which is another of my favorite things they say. They call it the English world.
Right.
So we're in the English world. They're in the Amish world. That's really all you need to know about that. They basically, during Rumspringa, can do whatever they want to during that time. It's almost like the purge, but I'm guessing murder is probably illegal or... I hope
off
so.
The table.
Right, yeah.
How long is the period of time?
Okay, so I looked at that and it doesn't seem to be a specific period. It's kind of like get it out of you, come back. If there is a specific time, I just didn't see it.
Okay.
So many of these teens enjoy all the English world has to offer, like electricity and phones, premarital sex, smoking, and alcohol. And so after this time of jump around, they make the decision whether or not they want to continue with the ways of the church and be baptized, or if they want to leave the church. And if you leave the church, you can still be around your family, you know, in some degree. They're not going to shun you. But if you choose to get baptized and then do any of these things, that's where the shunning happens.
Got it.
So back to the show. Breaking Amish is attempting to show what happens long after Rumspringa.
Okay.
The first season, we get this little intro of the cast and what their dreams are of the English world. So I'll give you a little background on each person. Abe Schmucker is 23 and he's from Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. He goes on this show for 3 seasons, but his mom, I don't know if you saw an older lady towards the end, her name is Mary, and she becomes like a very beloved part of the cast, like almost like a guidance and stuff for new kids that are leaving. I say kids, but some of these people are in their 20s, which is a kid, let's be honest.
I have 3 of those types of kids.
There you go. Next, we have Rebecca Byler. She's 21 and she's from the same town. Abe and this Rebecca, who spells her name differently than you, so therefore is inferior, they actually meet on the show and get married at the end of the first season.
Oh, wow.
More on that later.
Okay.
So up next is Kate Stoltzfus. She's 22 when we meet her and she is gorgeous. Did you see the one modeling like in a bathing suit?
The dark hair. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, like it's hard to miss. Gorgeous. So she grows up in, and I know it's not Lancaster. How do you say it? Lancaster?
Lancaster. It's
okay.
strange that you don't pronounce it. How would you not?
Lancaster?
Lancaster. Yeah, if you were to just look at it and read it phonetically, it's definitely regional that you would even know not to. Like I would never have known if I didn't know.
I only know because I think we got it wrong on Moms before and got a lot of emails. Yeah.
Lancaster.
I get bullied into these things and I can remember.
Totally.
So she's the daughter of a bishop, and that gorgeous thing isn't just like an aside. She actually becomes a model. She drops the fuss in her name, so it's Kate Stoltz instead of Kate Stoltzfus. Yeah. And today she's actually a fashion designer in New York.
Wow, good for her.
I was curious to see if you knew her name. I was like kind of curious.
When you said Kate Stoltz, it sounds familiar, but I don't know if that's just because it's like a great name. Like,
yeah, it's
I don't know.
Really good name.
Cool.
Yeah. And so the last 2 are the 2 that I'm focusing on this week. These 2 were on all 7 seasons of Return to Amish and really are who you think of when you think of Breaking Amish and Return to Amish. So the first is Jeremiah Raber, who is 33 at the time of filming and was adopted by an Amish family when he was small. More on that to come.
Okay.
He was raised in Ohio. Next is Sabrina, who was 26 at the time of filming, and she had also been adopted, but from Puerto Rico, and she was raised in a Mennonite family.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So before we get into the crimes of it all, let's take a quick break to hear a word from this week's sponsors. Okay. So Rebecca, let's talk controversy and crimes.
Please.
Yes. So when we meet these 5 young people, it shows them as being very naive. If you saw in the preview, the one girl acted like she was surprised with how a light worked.
Yeah, I saw.
You know,
also the pillow fight in slow-mo, they didn't need to do that.
There was
TLC.
I promise you, every season, whoever comes, they like go to the big city and they like wear all their, traditional garb. And then they walk into a store and they come out in bikinis. And you're like, every one of you has a sick body. And I'm so ticked off right now.
And they might be too. They might be like, wow, I literally never knew.
Why am I doing this? Yeah. So it's like they very much have a formula for this kind of thing. And they always go out to a bar and they're traditional stuff and people ask them what, like that's the kind of stuff that annoys me with this show.
It's kind of gross.
It is.
Exploitive.
I've watched almost all 7 seasons, so
it's
very exploitive, and I will keep watching. And while this possibly could be true that maybe some of these members of the Amish community don't know how to turn on a light switch or maybe don't know what a microwave is, these 5 do. But I do think it's possible, that some don't know all the ways of the English world. And there's nowhere else for me to put this. And these 2 aren't even on the season I'm talking about, but I need you to see, if I had to see this, you do. And people that are listening is going to be just as terrible. So don't worry, you're not missing anything.
My heart starts racing because I've never been kissed before.
Did they tell them to do that? That's not even...
Rebecca, explain what you saw because maybe it didn't.
I won't. They're setting up the girl Rebecca's first kiss because she says, I've never had a first kiss. I was so excited. And then they've cut to the shot of her and the guy, Abe.
Maureen and Daniel. These are different people.
Whoops.
They're not from
Sorry,
the regular
I just
season.
was using the names
No,
you
you're
gave me. I'm
good, you're
sorry.
good.
I'm so, all I can see is the part. Okay, so.
It kind of was like, what is it in Men in Black when like they erase your memory? That's basically what just happened to you. So this is Maureen and Daniel. They're on another season. Doesn't even apply to what we're talking about, but I needed you to see that.
Okay, so they lean in for what we think is going to be a very sweet.
Yeah, so sweet.
Lips brushing. There's no lips involved.
Mm-mm.
They stick their tongues out inches from their lips like lizards, and lip only tongues touch over and over and over.
Over and over.
And that's when I covered my face. I don't know what happened after that.
I mean, you got the idea of it. I don't need to torture you anymore.
Why are you doing this to me?
I know.
Question mark.
But those are kind of the sort of things that they'll like give to you, like, look at this person experiencing this. And you're like, didn't need to see that.
It's not even like an instinct to do if you've never done it before. I don't think. I feel like that was like, make sure you use tongue. And they were like, okay.
I mean, I don't know what could have made it worse. Honestly, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, biting their tongues off would have actually made it better.
Yeah.
So as this first season is underway, back to the actual thing of the show, controversy immediately begins with many people like showing pictures of the cast on MySpace and other places dressed in English clothes. So you have this new cast who's like, I've never seen a light bulb. And meanwhile, they're like, they're, like pulling out their Razor phone and, all that stuff back then.
It's
very silly. Now, TLC never said this group had never been in the English world, but they sure hinted at it. It turns out all of them had either left for a while or in some cases left for years. In fact, 3 of them, Rebecca, Jeremiah, and Sabrina, had all been married and divorced before even joining the show.
What?
That feels like a big thing.
How did the community agree to be? Are a lot of people on the show that aren't the primary characters, like Amish people?
You'll see
because I'm
sometimes
like, how would they consent?
They don't. Sometimes their face is blurred out, and sometimes you'll just get audio, and then sometimes they're like, they told us to leave.
Yeah.
That's a lot of it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So speaking of married, another big piece of controversy is this marriage between Rebecca and Abe. The show creates this narrative that like they knew each other, but they aren't together when they meet. So like they get to the big city and they're like, oh, hey, I remember you. Oh, hey, I remember you. Next week they're dating. At the end of this first season, they get married, right? Total lie. Pictures come out to show that not only were the 2 dating prior, they were in their English clothes in one photo with what ends up being their baby.
Stop.
A whole
okay.
baby.
So they're okay. So they're like aspiring wannabe reality TV stars.
I mean, they only stay on for 3 seasons, so I don't. If they were aspiring, they decided to get out of Dodge, and yeah, it was. But those are the kind of things like that's going to be found out if you have a whole baby with this person.
And did casting find out and not care, or not find out, not vet? Like, did they just assume there was no online presence for them and they didn't look?
So from what I understand, they must not have looked. And this is 2012, so I'm sure it is a little bit different.
Yeah.
But I know that there was some controversy that maybe she had this baby with her previous husband, but then like they do like a DNA test or something. It was very dramatic.
Maybe they were on Maury Povich. We should have checked.
That all you have to Google is everyone's name and Maury and see where they fall. Okay, now speaking of Abe that we were just talking about, he also must have gotten out for a little more than a rumspringa because at some point in 2008, he's arrested for public intoxication.
Oh.
Speaking of drinking, in 2012, Kate, the fashionista, is in Florida and she gets a DUI. So,
oh no.
So this group not only left the Amish, but they were like, we're really going to leave. We got things to do and laws to break.
Yeah, and they might have only been driving carriages prior.
True.
I mean, they might need new drivers.
Oh, true.
Makes it even less safe.
And when people find out about this, they really feel duped that some, if not all of the cast have lived full English lives before this show.
So bizarre.
But they come out in their Amish and Mennonite garb and pretend they're experiencing the world for the first time. So again, they're terrible actors. Terrible.
Well, I was going to say they're acting, but they're probably really bad.
It's so bad. It's so bad. So you know something's off, but you that's the thing. You know something's off, but you think maybe that's because of how they were raised.
Sure.
But also it could be because they have a whole baby at home waiting for them.
They're like, I can't be on set all night. We got to get this done. That is wild to me. That is just crazy.
Right. So we all know that like there is some sort of producing into producing a reality show, but this feels like a lot.
A dupe. Yeah.
Total dupe. So let's get into Jeremiah and Sabrina, who we're talking about this week.
Okay.
So Jeremiah is kind of the first to really give information on his time living an English life. So he is the first one to basically say, yes, I left the Amish community. I also got married and I had 3 kids before I came on the show. So again, you see him. Have you ever had that moment when you're leaving the house and you wonder, did I lock the door? Or worse yet, you start spiraling and you imagine all the what ifs. I used to feel that way all the time, but it wasn't until a few years ago when I heard about a break-in just a few blocks away that I realized I needed to really step up my home security game. And now I can spiral about the what ifs on things that don't matter, like reality stars, instead of the what ifs of home security. We've had Simply Safe protecting our house for the last few years now, and it's a total game changer. With Simply Safe's Fast Protect monitoring, I know within 5 seconds if something's actually up, and the lifeguards can actually speak to intruders to stop them. That's faster than a reality TV star can throw a drink. One of the things I really love the most is you're not locked into some over-the-top 90-day fiancé level contract drama. Simply Safe is actually affordable as well, less than $1 a day with no hidden fees, so it's easy to love. It's no wonder they've been named Best Home Security Systems by U.S. News and World Report for 5 years running. Whether you want to install it yourself, it really takes less than an hour, or have a professional handle it, Simply Safe is as easy as flipping channels between Chimp Crazy and The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. So why wait for the drama to happen? Get Simply Safe and know your home is covered just like I did. Protect your home with 50% off a new Simply Safe system, plus a free indoor security camera when you sign up for Fast Protect monitoring. Just visit simplysafe.com/criminality. That's simplysafe.com/criminality. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Hey, Prime members, have you heard? You can listen to your favorite podcasts ad-free. Good news! With Amazon Music, you have access to the largest catalog of ad-free top podcasts included with your Prime membership. To start listening, download the Amazon Music app for free or go to amazon.com/ad-free-podcast. That's amazon.com/ad-free-podcast to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads.
And it's like, my parents are going to shun me if I leave. You have a whole family.
Oh.
That isn't there.
Wait, a whole family that is Amish?
No.
Or that is not. It's
married.
English.
Yeah, sorry, an English
He went
family.
out of the community. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So both Jeremiah and Sabrina have pretty dark stories, but there is some good news for one of them. So like really good. So just remember that as we go through.
Okay.
So Jeremiah is looked at on the show in later years as sort of this mentor to the younger Amish who want to break free and live an English life. So as you go through the seasons, it'll be, say we're in the 3rd season. Well, there's Jeremiah and he's talking about being in Sarasota, and here's this new business venture, and he's going to call some of his Amish friends to come down and help, people who want to get out. Then those people come down, you meet this new cast, and that's kind of how it is. It's like being a friend of on The Housewives. Like, there has to be a connection, but it's not great. Very loosey-goosey. One of the businesses that he comes up with is an Amish donut company. Have you ever had an Amish donut?
No, but I'm going to add it to the list.
Yeah.
For when I go back to my mom's.
Do, because I looked at these pictures. They are beautiful, but they're love a good there's donut. Yeast involved in donuts, and I don't feel like it always is. Maybe. I don't know. There's a lot. The process is long, and they look amazing.
Yeah. Well, they do a lot of good, doughy. What is the other apple thing they make?
Apple fritters?
No,
I love those things.
They're apple. Maybe it is fritters. But it's very. Never mind. They do a lot of nice desserts.
Yeah.
So I could get on board a donut from there. Okay.
Yeah. So he's always kind of in some sort of a...
Dumplings. Sorry.
Dumplings. Okay.
They do apple dumplings.
Yes.
Sorry.
No, you're good. That's important. It's important to the story. So Jeremiah's always got some kind of business venture. Right now he seems to be in some sort of an MLM called Powerhouse.
Oh boy.
Don't know that one. But he's also written a children's book called A Day in the Life of an Amish Kid, a children's book, just in case you weren't sure who this is for. last but not least, he has his very own perfume. It's called, this is serious, this is the real name, J.C. Sass.
Sass?
Sass.
S as in Sam, A-S-S as in Sam again.
S as in Sam, A-S-S as in what you feel like when you wear it.
Oh my gosh. Stop. Oh.
There are people that I want to smell like. I mean, what's her face on Miami right now has a perfume, and I bet it's not bad.
Lisa.
Yeah.
Hawkinstein.
Yeah. She has one. I bet it's not bad. JC Sass, I would not trust being sprayed within a mile of me. It has notes of sandalwood, cedarwood, musk, and ocean.
Some of these things are not like the others. See, he had me with the first notes of scent, though, because that actually would go hand in hand if you wanted to lean into like an Amish brand and name it something more in that category. But calling it with the sass, JC Sass, and then having those, that just makes no sense.
I personally love it. But Jeremiah is known sort of as the bad boy in the Amish community, and he has a lot of theories about basically everyone and everything. He's kind of a know-it-all kind of person. But here's a clip from a reunion that they had in an earlier season. Either 1 or 2, they stopped doing reunions after that because they just because of the huge personalities.
Okay.
But here's a conspiracy theory he shares. And this is regarding Kate the model.
Why were you so angry at him?
He thinks that I'm selling my soul and like there's somebody giving me a hand up, that every single job that I get is because somebody gave it to me. He thinks that because I'm in the Illuminati.
First of all, Illuminati. What is the Illuminati?
I'm not even going to talk about it.
Well, someone has to talk
It's
about it.
supposedly this group that is behind every single music star, every single musician, anybody that makes it in the industry. The only reason why they make it is because there's this group of people that helps them succeed.
Do you think that she can't make it on her own? That's the only way she could have done anything?
Absolutely she can.
But?
No comment.
Can you just tell me why you don't want to talk about it?
He thinks it's because they're going to kill him.
Wait, is
Actually, you know what? I was getting death threats through email and phone calls saying I got to stop posting about this on Facebook.
Wait, what were you posting? Just things that you were looking up?
Like I said, I've been doing so much research on all this.
Maybe you should put as much trust and as much effort into believing people as you do the internet. Okay.
Next.
Yeah,
okay.
Next.
How long was that reunion?
Was that not the longest minute of your life?
And he slumped over. I mean, I don't know what he has to be so smug about.
JC Sass. He is the bad boy perfume cologne maker of a generation. Let's be honest.
Oof.
He's the worst.
It's also a tell that she says, like, anyone that makes it in the industry. I don't know how long. I know I'm not like tracking entirely with the timeline of like her involvement in the show, but it's like these are not like Amish naive girls of yesterday. These are women who have like
she's been out for a while.
Yeah,
I believe that she spent
that was a big tell.
Yeah, her childhood, but she knows way too much. It's just wild.
Yeah.
But it wasn't all fun and Illuminati with Jeremiah. He actually had a very complicated relationship both with his Amish family and his relationship with his birth family, who he worked to get to know while on the show.
Am I going to feel bad for him now?
It's okay. You'll stop feeling bad for him after.
Okay.
Cool. His journey to finding his birth parents was really strange and sad. He meets a few people on the show who may be his dad, or at least one guy, and then find out through DNA test, that's not his actual dad. But who his dad is and how he came to be is a story in itself. I just learned this one this week. So,
okay.
Through a lot of research and DNA test, Jeremiah finally gets connected to his birth family, and I think he meets his grandma. Here's the story of how he came to be. So his birth dad's name, I'm not going to birds and bees it, but you need to know a general idea. Tell me how detailed I need to be.
Kiss.
So his birth dad's name is Larry Hiltebeitel. He's an Englishman. He's not from the Amish. When Jeremiah is almost 1 year old, he's placed for adoption. And eventually he's adopted by this Amish couple. But here's where it gets wild. At the time of his birth, Larry, his dad, Jeremiah's dad, is married to a woman named Sheila. And you're probably like, okay, you mean his mom, Sheila? No,
Right.
I don't mean his mom, Sheila.
Oh.
Sheila's sister, Sherry, is his dad.
Wait, no. His mom.
Wait, Sheila's sister. Yes, thank you.
I was like, I mean,
it got even more
this could
complicated.
go another level, but I didn't. Okay, so married to Sheila, fathered Jeremiah with Sherry.
Right.
Sheila's sister.
Right. So
this is the show we should have gotten.
Well, hold your horses.
Oh, okay. Hold your horses.
Yeah,
that could be the episode title.
So apparently his dad actually has an affair with his sister-in-law, as you said, which is very Monica of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
On top of that, they realized that Sheila, so Larry's wife, Sheila, finds out that her nephew is actually her husband's son, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right. Oh, so they went through with it as though...
I guess she did not know this originally. So it's like a year before he's placed for adoption. And I think that's around when Sheila finds out. But here's what happens when Sheila finds out. She stabs Larry and kills him.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I did not see that coming.
I know. I kept trying. Every time you made a face like you were so shocked, I'm thinking, girl, just wait.
Oh my gosh. So how old is Jeremiah?
He's around 1 at this
Like when the
time.
show is on, he's like 23?
Oh, I'm sorry. He's 33.
Or
when
he's the
show's
older
on.
one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this would have been in like so he's like, that was 10 years ago. I'm just trying to, like, when was this? The 70s?
Yeah, I think it was in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So the sad part is Jeremiah talks about saying that he's the reason his dad was murdered because he was born, that kind of thing. That's where you feel bad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And also Sheila, his mom, not mom, his aunt, but was pretending to be, I don't know how that worked. She actually had a 25 years to life prison sentence and she died in prison. So he never got to meet either parent.
Gosh, that's brutal.
Yeah. So Jeremiah's been through a lot in his life, as you can tell. And a lot of those things are out of his control, but there are things that are in his control that he makes super bad decisions and choices with. Okay. One of those is when he got arrested in 2015 for disorderly conduct and public intoxication. He's like in a taxi, gets out, yells at the taxi driver. Must have been pretty bad because he gets arrested.
Okay.
But even before this is before the show is actually on. He has run-ins with the law that are related to domestic violence accusations by his ex-wife.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, they're married 2005 to 2011. They have 2 daughters and 1 son. And while you hear about these kids on the show, eventually they mention that, oh, by the way, he had a whole life before this. You don't ever see them, which is always a good thing, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
So in 2016, though, Jeremiah marries a woman named Camilla that he meets on social media. So the show's been on for a few years at this point. Camilla is not from the Amish world, and she's a single mom to 4 kids and beautiful. She's like one of those just naturally, like people that you're fascinated, like how did your genetics land so perfectly? Because
wow,
talk to mine. So Camilla becomes a part of this breaking Amish world. She's on several seasons, as well as really her tumultuous nature with her relationship with Jeremiah. Most of that plays off screen, but like, of course, on social media because people do this. So a year after their wedding, which actually appeared on Breaking Amish, or one of the Amish ones, in April of 2017, Carmela calls the police and says that Jeremiah had struck her. And she also says, this isn't new, this is a daily thing. Yeah. In October of that year, Jeremiah claims that Carmela had stolen $15,000 from him before leaving him. There was like some dispute over land in Florida, which I was like, $15,000. You could buy half of Florida with that. So
you can get a parking spot here.
Yeah.
For half a year.
Seriously. So the couple get back together and split again in 2022. And like I was saying, there's tons of Facebook stuff on this during this time. There's lives that Jeremiah does claiming his innocence, and Carmela shares like really dark things about what happened between them and things she accuses him of. Yeah. So I hope they aren't back together, but as of November 2023, they were, according to a subreddit. But I hope the show doesn't ever put him on another episode. Like, I feel bad for him. I think his story is important as far as like living in the Amish community and not feeling like he was really a part of it, and then all this trauma. But also, let's not put abusers on TV.
No, in 2012, there shouldn't have been an excuse or reason to, but we'll let it go. Like we are now, there is absolutely no reason for people to be cast on these shows that have criminal records. If that's a public record, producers can find that out. There's just no reason.
It's absolutely wild. Like, I can't believe, I think as of last year, he was still on there. I haven't watched it in a few years, but like, I don't get it. But let's switch gears and let's talk about Sabrina. So Sabrina is one of these people that you want the best for. So she's the one on the clip that says they are always telling you you're going to hell, but you just want to love God, right?
Yeah, the dark hair.
Yeah. So it seems like, though, on the show as it goes on, that you can just tell she's in a dark place. So when we meet her, she talks about being adopted and having been raised as a Mennonite. And again, that was interesting because she's the only one that was on that original cast that wasn't Amish. So Sabrina had previously been married before the show, but I don't even think that was brought up until like the awkward reunion, and like it came up because, you know, people on the internet were like, this is weird. I was in your wedding, that sort of a thing. Sabrina and Jeremiah either sort of date on the show, but it always feels more like a storyline to me. So Sabrina goes on to date this guy by the name of Harry Kreiser III, who, of course, ends up having an arrest for domestic violence and assault, which people assume is against Sabrina because of like the timeline with that. So
is he Englishman?
He is
Amish?
Amish, or he might be Mennonite. I don't remember that, but he's not of this English world. Okay. So right off the bat, not going great for her with him. She ends up sharing her pregnancy on the show. And this was a painful scene because she's dating this guy. She's not married to him. So I just wanted you to get an idea of like, I don't know, just her heart.
Okay.
All right, you ready to listen to this little one? All right.
I'm really excited to have my own baby, but at the same time, I'm nervous because I've never been through it before. My parents do not talk to me anymore because I'm a whore, because I'm pregnant and I'm not married. It really made me sad because my dad told me that my baby is a disappointment to them.
So that's baby's heartbeat 125 today, which is good.
I'm 7 months pregnant and my Mennonite family won't talk to me about it. My body's going through all these changes and I have no idea what's going on.
That's sad.
It's really sad, right? So
yeah,
even if she hadn't been away from this world for very long, she's still like, she has, you know, she was adopted and doesn't know that family, and now doesn't have the family that chose to adopt her and take her in.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That just broke my heart. So
it really is so sad. Must be just so lonely.
Yeah. This isn't going to make you feel better. Sometime in the early seasons, Sabrina becomes addicted to heroin, and it is bad. Yes. So bad that she has her first daughter, Oakley, with this guy, Henry, the guy she's been dating. And eventually Oakley, their daughter, is taken away from her due to her heroin addiction in 2015.
Wait, I feel like I heard about this.
You might have.
And I think my cousin told me.
Really?
Keep going.
Okay. So she eventually gets custody back, but loses it again when she is in the car with her friend and Oakley. Her friend may have been the driver. They were pulled over. The friend has a heart attack and dies. And I'm sure it was drug related, which is why, again, the daughter's taken away.
Jeez. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And soon after, she's pregnant with her second daughter, Ariana. So she's terrified to give birth in the hospital because she's like, they're going to take my baby because of, I mean, she was probably on something then. I don't know that, but she was terrified. So she wanted to have the baby at home. So, you know, protective services couldn't take the baby. And she actually ends up having the baby. She wants to have the baby and then give the rights to the baby to her Mennonite family to raise the baby. So she knows she can't take care of the baby and she wants her parents to. So there's paperwork, but she has the baby 4 weeks early. And so it wasn't all processed. So she goes to have the baby and they take the baby at the hospital. Oh. So she never has the baby.
But this was the family who had rejected her?
Yeah. I mean, she must have gotten somewhere with them at some point, I guess.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so tragic.
It's brutal. So Ariana's taken from her and both girls are eventually placed in the home of a relative of his sister. I think she actually adopted them.
Okay.
Hopefully that's a good situation. I'm sure it is. It's better than what it was.
Them together too is good.
It was, yeah. So Sabrina eventually breaks up with Harry, but then goes on to date and then marry this other guy named Jethro Nolt. So Jethro also grew up Mennonite. He was also adopted and he had a history of substance abuse as well. So it seemed natural that the two of them kind of navigate towards each other.
Yeah.
So she goes on to marry Jethro. They have 3 kids together.
Whoa.
Yeah. And while on the show, he's like coming in and out of her life. He's like wants to be a family and then he wants to leave like when she's pregnant. So it's like, it's
Sounds
horribly dysfunctional and like she has a lot on her plate. In May of 2017, she's arrested and charged with possession of a controlled substance and criminal conspiracy. So she's then released 10 days later and she seems to start her journey of sobriety. Stay with me. So I want to share this clip that kind of shows her struggles with heroin. This isn't her on heroin. This isn't anything like that. It's just her talking about how she felt when she was having her daughter.
She stuck the needle in the wrong place, I think. Finally, they get it in right. And I literally went numb. And my first thought was like, oh my God, this feels like I did a shot of heroin. I've been sober for 2 years. And that was really scary for me. I didn't think it would trigger me the way it did, but it did.
Oh, is she talking about an epidural or pain medication?
I think it was the epidural. Gosh. So just her, she's trying to stay sober and then having this and realizing, I don't know, it just felt like such an honest and vulnerable thing to share.
It is. Oh my gosh, it is.
Especially having lost custody of your two, to be that honest. I did hear also, she said that like she told the production company, she told TLC, I was using heroin. I'm clean. Like when she became clean. And so you need to stay on me. Like I need to know that I will lose my job if I'm using, like, which I don't think a lot of people would do.
No, that's impressive.
I thought it was. So unfortunately, but stay with me. In 2018, after being clean for almost a year, a friend gives her a capful of heroin. And she said,
why? That's not a friend. I don't like her.
I know.
The friend.
But I promise it does get better. So she uses it and ends up nearly dying from a fatal heroin overdose. So when this friend, same friend, does CPR on her, her heart has stopped. It's just, she's dead. They're doing CPR until, help arrives. They have 2 Narcan units. I don't know what they call, like, one Narcan. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, probably units. But I was just thinking, I wish the friend had Narcan. It would be better than CPR, but okay. Okay, so they got to her in time.
Yeah, so they use the Narcan, doesn't work. Use the second one, it works, thankfully, because they did not have a 3rd dose of it.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. And so she's like, I would have died. She said her last moment before she had this overdose was thinking, I feel really, really weird. Like she just knew something wasn't right. So she gets clean and she has custody of these 3 kids. She and Jethro eventually break up, but seem to be co-parenting responsibly. Okay. Sure. Back in February of 2023, Sabrina posted that she'd just given birth to her 6th child, a son with a new boyfriend, Scotty. But here's the thing.
Oh, okay.
She looks amazing. And she's been clean now for several years. She's thriving. She's taking her sobriety incredibly seriously. She moved out of the state. She said, I need new people, new things, new everything.
You do.
And I'm honestly just so proud of her. She looks so good. In not like a hottie kind of way, but just in a happy and healthy. And she didn't for so long.
Oh my gosh.
Somebody, I guess, in a People magazine interview asked her, you know, is sobriety hard? She said, no, addiction's hard. Sobriety, like living every day, knowing what I have to lose, like that's
wow.
That's easy. I can look at that. So I just sent you a picture of her just because I think she looks so healthy in the picture and like a different person than what you saw on TV.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, her eyes look bright. Like she just looks, yeah, it just,
healthy,
there's not
right?
like that emptiness. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that makes me really happy.
So I don't really have any updates beyond that. Everything seems to be going well with her. But yeah, that's the Amish. That's Breaking Amish, Return to Amish, Brave New World. One thing she talked about is I read that people reach out to her about sobriety. Like, how did you get sober? And she said, the first thing I had to do once I started dealing with childhood traumas, that made such a difference because I was just trying to cover up these things that happened to me as a child and rejection. And there were some other things. And so she said, dealing with that, then she could really deal with her addiction. But I don't know. I just think like she's
so
very
helpful
brave
to people.
And
yeah, it really is.
And I was like very impressed with her. Last thing. She and Jeremiah got really mad at her one time about her oldest 2 daughters and said, you gave them away. You gave up on them. You chose drugs over them. You were adopted. I was adopted. You know how that is, blah, blah, blah. And she said, I did the best things for my kids. I could not take care of them. And I needed somebody to love them. Like
the right way to look at it.
Yeah. And it was just, I don't know, that made me even angrier at him, but it's just a lot. So anyway, I learned something. Hope you guys did too.
Gosh.
Don't watch it.
I'm not going to watch it.
Mm-mm.
I'm annoyed at how that show came to be. I almost feel like they must have put out a casting that's like looking for people with like a past connection to Amish or previously Amish. And then they just kind of repackaged it to look like it was a little more recent.
Oh, totally.
That they were in the world. And it's just kind of gross. I don't know. But I really like Rumspringa. I really think other religions should consider their own version of Rumspringa. Like if you're raised in a certain faith, that you get some period where you choose it for yourself in this kind of specific way where there's like a name for it and a process. And I don't know if it backfires. I don't know if it's good. I don't know what happens to people who leave after, if they have no family support. I guess it's not ideal. I don't want to idealize it, but
yeah. Watch Devil's Playground.
I like it. Okay. Also, did you ever see, I feel like there's a lot of like Amish stuff in culture. Like I missed the Devil's Playground, but The Witness, do you remember that?
Yeah.
That Harrison Ford movie? That was great. And then do you remember the big movie in 2022? Or I think it came out last year, but I saw it at the end of 2022. Women Talking?
No, I don't think I've even heard of it.
Oh my gosh. Very dark. About a Mennonite, and it's based on a true story about Mennonite women and the men in their community were brutally attacking them in the middle of the night. And so the women like kind of stage a coup, but they're not allowed to read or write in this sect of Mennonite religion. And they kind of had to band together and like create a plan. It is crazy and so good.
Oh yeah. Okay. I want to see that.
So interesting to hear about a show that I've heard of, but never watched. So thanks.
Yeah.
I'm just excited to know the meaning, the origins for Rumspringa and Amish. Literally those 2 words. Like, if no other takeaways, thank you for those.
You're very welcome. And hopefully there were no other takeaways. Let's just call this a bye week and go ahead. Rebecca, I would love to know though what you're watching.
Okay. So, we talked already about Love on the Spectrum. I'm watching the first season of the American version because you and I had talked previously about the Australian one, which I guess is how the show started. Started American, loving it so much, but that's not what I'm going to tell you about because we've already talked about it. But just have to mention it because it's so heartwarming.
It's so good. So season 2 is out. Rebecca started season 1, but season 2 is out. And oh my gosh, there's really nothing that brings a smile to my face like that show. I'm always like, I'm going to be sad when I watch it. And I never am. I'm just like crying tears of joy.
It's the most hopeful, pure show. It's so good.
Yeah. There's like no happiness like watching that show for me.
Yeah. And you just root for every single person.
Right.
Okay. So what I am watching is, 3 Clues, HBO, Alaska, Jodie Foster.
Yes, the new season of Detective. I know what
True
it is.
Detective.
True Detective.
Yep.
Okay, I haven't started it. What do you think?
Well, it's appointment TV, right? It's a Sunday night drop every week. So it started last week. So I just watched episode 2 last night. I really like it. It's so weird. It's so different from previous seasons of True Detective, of which I only watched one. I think this is the 4th season of the show. And I think it's completely different from previous seasons. So it's like a standalone thing. I'm just so excited to see Jodie Foster on the screen because she's such a master in acting, and she's 61. She's still strong and beautiful and phenomenal, and I just love watching her. Okay, but they shot it in Iceland, but it's supposed to be Alaska, and and I've been to Iceland, and when you're in Iceland, you feel like you're on another planet, which I would imagine you feel like in Alaska. Parts of Alaska too. And if we have Alaskan listeners, please. Like, I would love to hear if you're watching this and what you think. You know, obviously there's a murder mystery. There's 2 jurisdictions in this very small little village. I don't even know. I mean, I guess it's a town, but it's called Ennis. There's 2 jurisdictions fighting over who is going to take a case, right? Kind of a classic murder mystery trope. And then this additional, very mysterious, very bizarre, how will they ever solve it? Occurrence happens, and one of the detectives, who's also a woman, is kind of going head to head with Jodie Foster's character, who's like the chief of the larger agency. They're going head to head on, like, she thinks there's a connection between these cases, and Jodie's like, no, there's not. Jodie Danvers, Officer Danvers, I don't even know her first name. And so there's this like mounting tension there, but it's this very small village, so everyone has been married, dated, slept together, or is related. Like, not both, but either or. Like, everyone knows everyone in some capacity. I don't think there's any of that yet. And it's part native, and then there's, you know, Caucasian. So it's different cultural lifestyles all kind of playing out together, like, which is what this town is made of. Something happened on episode 2 that I opened, like, I went,
really?
And just stayed in that position for like 20 seconds. And I'm like, when was the last time my jaw literally dropped? Like, we say it all the time.
Reality,
but really, no, not even close. I mean, like, jump scare meets jaw on the floor. Like an exclamation came out of me. It was so crazy. And I'm like, this is such good television, because really that never happens.
Yeah.
And if it does, it truly is on The Housewives, and it's just something shocking and like, but something shocking that you could dream up in the world of reality TV. This was truly like, there's no way. Like, what? So crazy. So I'm really hooked. I really think it's good. I know I haven't explained it well. It's quite weird. Like I said, there's like a lot of people who believe kind of in more of the like spiritual realm, but then it's very much like a forensics story, and it's like the merging of these things. So some things you don't know if are real or not. It's wild. And it's shot just, it's so beautiful. But it's dark season in Alaska, which is when they just don't have daytime. They just have no sunlight.
Yeah.
So every day and every scene is in the pitch dark. And
please tell me HBO made it where we can see it, because Netflix
No, we can
does.
see everything.
Okay. Netflix, it's always so dark, and you're like, what am I even
that's a
watching?
good point. No, this is, the cinematography is stunning. It's so gorgeous. Honestly, you could just watch it for that. It's like a document, like a nature doc. It's so pretty.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah. So
I definitely want to watch.
Really good.
Yeah.
But weird. I will just warn you, like, I don't quite get it all yet. I don't know if I ever will, but I'm enjoying watching it.
Speaking of weird, I finished the freaking worst show I've ever watched, The Curse.
Melissa, you were not alone in being very upset about all of that.
It was the dumbest freaking ending that I've ever, like, it does not make a lick of sense. You can't come back next season. I don't even think you could tell me it was a dream sequence, because I just wouldn't believe you. If it comes back next season, will I watch it? Probably. I don't want
Melissa,
to. I know. I will.
You have no one to blame but yourself if that happens. I'm sorry. I will give you this season. I admire your loyalty and dedication to a show and to people and friends. I benefit from that. Yeah. If you watch the season next, I will say, I don't want to hear about it.
Fair. I just don't even know how they make a second season. But then people were putting something together, and there's like one thing I was like, oh, well, that's kind of cool, but it still doesn't make sense. Like, it still doesn't make me happy.
There were think pieces on this last episode. I sent you one. Like, people were
I read it.
up in arms about it.
But then I look on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and some people are like, every episode was just blah, blah, blah. I'm like, am I living in an alternate timeline? Because I don't understand how you people are excited. So let me tell you something that you will be excited about.
Okay,
not
thanks,
excited, but you should watch it.
Definitely not going to watch that. Okay.
Okay. Netflix.
Okay.
Kidnapping. Fake.
Oh, American
You got
Nightmare?
it. Yes.
I watched.
Oh my gosh. What are your thoughts? Or, well, yeah. You
No,
do a
what are
better
yours?
job
It was your
explaining
show.
it.
No,
Okay.
I don't. Nobody has any idea what True Detective season 4 is about.
I love it. This is from Wikipedia. It says the series covers the March 2015 kidnapping of Denise Huskins from the home she shared with her boyfriend Aaron Quinn in Vallejo, California.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. So it's...
Did you know that story?
Okay, so I remember hearing about a Gone Girl case.
Yes.
But
not
thought
Sherry
differently.
Papini.
Yes, not Sherry Papini.
It's like the other Gone Girl case.
Yes, the real Gone Girl, or the movie. But I don't want to get a thing away about this.
No
Google
spoilers
the
on this
story.
because you will not see anything coming.
No, and there's
if you don't know.
No, there's no. It's just one of those like knock out of the park documentaries that you just are
so good.
You're furious. You're amazed. You're just
in awe.
All of the feelings.
It was so well done.
I
thought it was
so well done.
So well done. So my daughter and I watched that the day she was leaving back to school, and she wanted to leave at 12, and we put it on while we were packing her up.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't leave. We watched all 3 right in a row. I was like, yes, I got her longer. Because we couldn't stop watching it.
No.
It was so good. There is a book that came out a couple of years ago called Victim F, written by the woman, Denise.
Okay.
And she co-wrote it with a journalist that I had on Dialogue. So I learned about the story that way through reading that book, which is also phenomenal. But if you don't want to take the time to read the book, but if you want to go much deeper into it, the book is amazing.
Really?
Because the co-author did the podcast Chasing Cosby. Like, she's a really great writer and journalist. So it's just a great, great book. But this documentary, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was just
Nightmare, watch it.
Every turn, like every episode, you're like, you don't know what to believe or what to think. And there's
and they let you sit in that and just wonder.
Absolutely. The female detective in this is a hero.
Mm-hmm. And also she was the newest, you know, in terms of career, she was the youngest detective, and she just connected dots and was relentless in pursuing it. And it's like, I'm going to say too much. It's like you need to see those heroes in the police departments.
Especially in this story.
Yes. I'm so glad they included her.
Oh,
they
me
had
too.
To, but like, she just redeemed so much that went wrong. And,
totally.
Oh God, it was so good.
Yeah. You needed a hero in that story, and she was a great hero.
Really did. And the best and worst, most uncomfortable, but best part of the series is like, you don't know if you're supposed to be rooting for or like hating the main people. Like, you just don't know, because you're like, well, if this goes this way, then I feel this way. But if it's what they're saying, then, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's
great
amazing.
Watch.
Definitely watch that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
Yes. So, and we both
good.
got
I feel like we
other's-
gave 2. I know, that's true.
Yay.
We did. I know, this does feel like something we should celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
Melissa, are you ready to take a little departure for our next episode and maybe try something slightly different?
I'm sorry, was the Amish community not far enough for you to depart?
This is not, I don't know how to compare or say anything.
You're good.
This is just,
but yes.
Are you ready for what's going to happen in 2 weeks?
I'm ready.
Okay, I'm breaking a little bit of the rules.
Fine.
But I think it's going to work. Your clues are competition, Missouri, and MTV.
I'm thrilled because you know I love an MTV show, person, anything. Missouri.
Well, you will love this, but
Really?
not for the reasons you think.
Okay.
Wish me luck. Yeah, I can't wait to come back in 2 weeks, do this again. I'll bring this story, and you'll bring the rum springer. You bring the rum.
There you go. I'm going to rum springer myself right into
Out the
an
door.
early bedtime tonight. Yes.
Yeah, Perfect. Okay. Well, you guys can follow us on Instagram at Criminality Show. You can go to our website, criminalityshow.com, and you can hear Melissa every Tuesday on her other podcast, Moms and Mysteries. And they also are going to be appearing. They will already have appeared on the Playboy Mansion Murders, which they can watch where?
After when this comes out, you can watch it on Max, I think.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so big. That's so exciting.
So exciting.
Congrats, by the way.
Oh, thank you so much. It was
that's
recorded
very exciting.
4 days after I was in the hospital and on a ton of steroids. About a week after the doctor told me, will you get out of here? I don't know. We'll see. So it wasn't at my best.
I wouldn't have mentioned all of that. But you know what? I like your authenticity. And you and Mandy are going to be great. I can't wait to watch. And congrats again.
Thanks so much. I will let you know what other people think of it. I will not be watching. All right. And then, let's come back in 2 weeks and do this again. I'm very excited.
Yeah. And if you enjoy the show, go ahead and leave a nice 5-star review.
Yes, that'd
saying
be great.
Why you like it.
Mm-hmm. It would be very much appreciated. And let's do this in 2 weeks.
Sounds good. Bye.
Bye.